Assalamu alaikum. Sorry to interrupt. I hear we just have about 11 minutes or so before we close. So I will want to quickly go into one area that I think will give us some meat to chew on for the rest of today. All right. But please, this you have to all memorize. Okay, yeah. That it's not all one category, black and white, halal or haram. It's not like that. That is too simplistic. Actually, that's very, very childish. Islamic and Islamic. Please don't bring that one in. Don't tolerate that one. You accommodate a lot of rubbish if you start. So is this Islamic? Yeah, there is the context in which we can say, okay, we know what we are talking about. When you say Islamic studies, we know what you mean. It doesn't mean the rest is un-Islamic studies.
No. Yes, Sheikh. From what you've told us this morning, from what I've learned from the discussion since morning, a lot of things are based on intentions. So if you do something, even if it's your worldly affairs, but it's beneficial, it's also rewarded. So mubah itself, if you do something mubah, I wear a cap, for example, but it's the sunnah of the Prophet wearing cap, for example. I can go like this. Sometimes when you go to the mosque, just we shut in my place before, not now. They'll tell you this is not, it's boko. If you put a belt, it's boko. So this mubah, I wanted to clarify whether mubah itself, if it is not haram, will it not be something of reward?
Oh.
Rewarded.
So that's why we keep repeating. Mubah means the Quran and Sunnah does not say do it, it doesn't say don't do it. It's just left to you. You want to do, you don't want to do, don't do. Are we together? What kind of pillow do you want to use? Mattress or sleep on a mat? Entirely up to you.
But that's not rewarded at all.
There's no reward. But what is your intention? Then your actions are judged by the intentions. So is there a good purpose behind it? So for example, left to me, I would really prefer to attend a particular program without a hat. Why? It's my culture, I'm a Western person or whatever it is. But I want to honor my visitors. I'm being sensitive to how they feel. So I care about them. And I actually want to dress in a way that honors them. Are we together? I have a good intention for something that's mubah. So actions will be judged by their intentions. So mubah is that category where when somebody says which ayah, which verse, you say, The Quran doesn't encourage it, it doesn't discourage it. But what is your intention for doing? Just like the tomato, whatever. You can get somebody who said, I am buying these tomatoes to give them as a gift. I am buying these tomatoes to eat at home. Why did you buy the most expensive one from the supermarket? Because because in the supermarket, they have already selected the best. And as a gift, I want to give something good. Oh, that's your intention. Yeah, you got a reward. Another person say, I'm not going there. I'm going to the roadside one. I'll do the washing or whatever. From a Sharia perspective, buying tomato is under mubah category. It is you that is upgrading it because of your intention. Yeah. So, something I want us to quickly do is one more metaphor and then a diagram before we leave today. And it is the metaphor of the court case. The metaphor of the driver is useful in helping you appreciate the interdependence of usul, qawaid, and waqi. Remember that one? Yes. The maqasid and the waqi and the context. So all those factors, don't separate them. As we said, for the purpose of study, we can say we are discussing this one and we are discussing another one. In reality, the driver is dealing with all of them at the same time. Are we together? In court, this one helps us with procedure of ijtihad. So when it comes to first aid, the moment you find somebody on the ground at an accident, what is the first thing you try to do? Anybody from medical? You want to know whether they are breathing. No breathing? Then what? Pulse. Is the heart beating? If the answer is no for both, what next? Okay, it don't happen. From the first aid point of view, you're like, what? You don't have a stethoscope, maybe there's a faint heartbeat, but you can't detect it. Are we together? Yeah. From a first aid point of view, there are certain step 1, step 2. Before you move, you want to touch to make sure there are no bones that are already nearly broken. And you're carrying, the leg was like this, now it's like this. And now, is it not you, Mumu? Hurry to take them by the roadside. So, the court metaphor takes us through a step-by-step methodology that I'd like us to remember. We use a court metaphor because most of us have some idea of what happens in court, whether it's through movies, etc. So in the case of the court, usually it starts with a specific accusation. Okay? So let's just take, for example, Mala Adam said that Abdul Haq stole his phone. Is that simple enough? Yes. He is coming to me, the judge, and saying, Abdul Haq stole my phone. Is he innocent or is he guilty?
Innocent. In the court case, he is innocent.
Good. In court, there is one step they start with. They start with what they call a default judgment. The starting point, not the ending point. So in usul, so here we are talking, is he innocent or is he guilty? Okay? So in the court case, he starts with istishab, legal default. He is innocent. If you are asking me, is it halal to eat rat? Or snake, or kangaroo? That's the specific question. So tell me, halal or haram? Fard, wajib, which one exactly? The question has to be very specific. Are we clear? That's the number one. Once we hear the question is about kangaroo, it's about food. The question is, what is the legal default regarding food? Food is halal, except you have evidence that it is haram. Are we together? Yeah. Activities are all halal by default, unless there's evidence that it is haram. Al-asl is ibaha. So the second thing after specific question is we look for the legal default. In his case, we have heard the accusation, he stole my phone. The legal default is he is innocent until we can prove him guilty. When we say he is innocent, it's for the first purpose of starting and deciding the onus of proof is on who?
The accuser.
Yes. It is the accuser who needs to bring evidence. We don't say, wait, they say you stole the phone. Bring evidence that you didn't steal the phone. He said, what do you mean bring evidence? I didn't know. And we bring the evidence. Then he said, tell him to bring evidence. No. You bring evidence that you didn't steal the phone. You can't bring any evidence. But it's mine since whatever. Where's the receipt? I've lost it. Where's my receipt? Judge, where's the receipt for your own phone? So on him, for his own case, he is innocent until proven guilty. So we start with the default. Are we together? After we start with the default, so then we start looking for evidence from usul, from maxims, from the maqasid. Evidence, so we go back to the phone. Actually, let me finish with the phone thing. So we start with, is he innocent or guilty? It's just like halal or haram. Okay? But the default says he is innocent until proven guilty. So we will now come to you. Bring evidence that he is guilty. You say, the phone looks like my own. And we say, but that's not strong enough as evidence of guilt, because it may be you have the same phone. Bring more evidence.
I have a picture.
I have a picture of what?
While he was stealing it.
While he was stealing. Are we sure that was a picture? Yeah. Okay. However, it is him that we will be putting the pressure on to give us the evidence. And we look at the evidence, does it work or not? If the evidence is strong enough, we say this looks like evidence. And he said, but that's not me in the picture. It's true. It looks like AI. We're not going to say prove it is not AI. No, once it's clear, sorry, this one, we can't convict him based on this. It's when you bring enough evidence, he was there, eyewitness, reliable, whatever, then we have been able to turn over the innocent until proven guilty. Why? We have now proven guilt. So it starts with you are innocent until proven guilty. From usul, qawaid, maqasid, now we are going to fiqh. Okay? When you can bring enough evidence to say he is guilty, then we say you are guilty. Are we together? Yes. So in the fatwa, can you eat kangaroo or not? The istishab, legal default, is it's halal unless evidence that it is haram. It belongs to that big category of mubah. Okay? So it is halal unless you can prove it is haram. So we look at usul, Quran, Sunnah, QS, Iqra, I miss you. Remember that one, Ko? Yeah. Anything Quran? No. Anything Sunnah? No. Anything Ijma? No. Qiyas? No. No. From the Maqasid or Qawaid, we start with that one. Any evidence that it is causing harm or what, you say no. From the Maqasid, is it undermining any Maqasid? No. None. Yeah. We have not been able to overturn the default. The default continues to remain. That the kangaroo is halal unless he is proven haram, and in the absence, we go back to default. Sorry, you've not given enough evidence, default remains. If, however, he is able to bring evidence, but it is mixed evidence, some for advantage, disadvantage, whatever, we will weigh it, and we do what is called istihsan. What's the best conclusion we will arrive at from all this evidence? And we arrive at our judgment. So, we will. So, you remember the first part, innocent until proven guilty? Yes. Then the procedure is about proving guilt. In the absence of that, if no evidence for guilt, we go back to default. Is eating tom-tom or eating this halal? Asl? Halal. Legal premise, halal. Bring evidence from the Quran or Sunnah that it is halal. No, the legal default already tells us it's halal. It's you who is saying it's haram that should bring evidence. Are we together? So it's you who is saying haram, you will say, oh, but he's diabetic and this is causing harm. And so even though from the usul I don't have anything, at better yuzal, harm must be eliminated in the qaida, and this is causing harm. And the harm is serious enough to be extending your hand to self-destruction. So I can use those general verses of the Quran of do not extend your hand to self-destruction to say it is haram if you know it is going to cause you. The same argument for smoking and a lot of these type of self-harm infliction. It's him. That's a fatwa now. It's not a hukum. It's not a general ruling. We're interested here, specifically fatwa crafting. Similar procedure, just hukum is more general, or what is the normal judgment. Fatwa is usually an exception to that rule. So after your triangulation, conclude through triangulation on the wisest, most equitable, what is istihsan. Imam Malik actually said 90% of judgments by a judge is based on istihsan. 90%, you will ask yourself, what is the fairest of them all? Miracle. Their evidence would be a new ruling if the istihsan tells us something different from the istishab. the legal default. If, however, there is absence of evidence, we return to the original ruling. You are innocent because we've not been able to prove you are guilty. So, step by step. Please read this slowly in your own free time. Step number 1, start with the specific question and the legal default. Let's pick another example, which would be, is football halal? It belongs to mu'amalat, interpersonal entertainment. Al-asl is what? Ibaha, which means it belongs to mubah. Not makruh, not haram, not mustahab, not fard, but mubah. We will search usul if there's any evidence in Quran, Sunnah, Iqra, I miss you, what they call the primary and secondary sources, to make it haram. If we don't have any evidence, we'll check into qawaid. No evidence, we'll check into maqasid. No evidence, we have triangulated everything. What is our conclusion? The same conclusion, no evidence, then we look at juristic preference, final check. And we say we have no evidence to say it is haram. Then it goes back to fatwa, either confirming the default we started with, or if it has changed, we will support it with the new evidence. Summary. No. First aid. So apply football again here. The default, halal, except if it is haram. Are we together? We're talking of the game football. If somebody, oh, but they are wearing shorts and whatever, then this question is on wearing shorts, not on football. Can we separate the thing? Yes. So any game is, al-asl is ibaha. Mubah. Yeah, the default is, it belongs to that category. Which kind of food do you want to eat? Which kind of educational system do you want to run? Which kind of medication do you want to whatever? Which kind of farming tools? Which kind of the whole lot of mu'amalat, dunya, secular affairs, all of those areas. The general rule is it is mubah, permissible, neither encouraged nor discouraged, unless you have evidence for to the contrary.
Like Ludo.
Ludo, for example. Default is what? Mubah. Are we agreed on the default? Yeah. So it's the default of any game is not an act of ibadah. Are we together? The default is it is mubah. If you are going to say it's haram, you need something from the Quran or from the Sunnah. Are we together? So, sorry? Wait, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just on a procedure issue. Do not confuse starting point with conclusion. The legal premise of all board games is they are halal by default. That's the starting point. Halal. Mubah. Okay. Haram is this category. Prohibited, sinful. All of these are halal. Sin, haram. No sin, halal. You have to break no sin down and say, this one no sin, this one no sin, this one no sin, this one no sin. But this one, if you don't do it, there's a sin. So it's fard, but it's halal. Halal means it's permissible, you can do it. Are we together? That's why separating, is it halal or haram? It's not always as simple as that, because it may belong to any of the 4 categories. Okay? So that's why in usul, the opposite of haram is not halal. It's fard. The opposite of makruh is mustahab. Why? After you tell me this is must not do, haram, the opposite is must do. I need evidence from Allah that I must do and there's a sin for omitting. I also need evidence from Allah that I must not do and there's a sin for committing. That's why this is structurally the same evidence you need. The weight of evidence you need to speak in God's name is the same evidence you need to speak in God's name here. Are we together? Yeah. But in general, ordinary language, they will talk about halal and haram. Halal and haram. But just remember, for the purpose of this, you need to go more granular. Halal, which category of halal? Halal could be one of 4. So, you start with the default. So, board games, Ludo. Default, halal. Starting point. To change it, you need to bring something from Quran, Sunnah, Iqra, I miss you, or Qawaid or Maqasid. So sister says she has an evidence from the Sunnah that it is haram to play any games of chance. But then we got a debate. Some say, yeah, but there's no gambling in it. That the gambling is what is prohibited. Not just, okay, I have a coin, heads or tail, which one is going to do? Why? Because even which wife will follow the Prophet on a journey? It was through lots. Okay, but it wasn't gambling. So some will say, if it is gambling, so that's where the debate among scholars begins. No, this evidence is not strong enough. Somebody said, no, it's good enough for me. Oh no, I'd rather play safe, and I'll consider it whatever. But they all agree on the default starting. It is whether they have evidence to counter the default, an exception to the default. If you have evidence for an exception to the default, then we will assess the evidence and choose the best. If there is no evidence, then we go back to default again. Back to square one. This is a messy drawing, but if you can put this in your head, it summarizes everything we'll be discussing today and tomorrow, procedure-wise. Yes.
Okay, but take it for example, the Ludo or the board game.
Yes.
And we have said that the default situation is halal or haram. Now, we now have evidence that somebody who said, okay, it's time wasting, it's wasting of time, and they go to Quran and Hadith to say that we should not waste our time, we should be cautious. So, with that background, or the issue that says that, okay, does it resemble gambling or not, and those things. And now, from those arguments, can we now arrive at a discussion to now say it is haram or halal?
Is a wasting of time haram? I just decided I'm going to sit down and just rest. Is that haram? So you can't just, you call it waste of time. I call it building a relationship with my friend. We're doing something together. So that
Fitness.
somebody says it's a walk, you are wasting your time. Somebody says it's physical fitness. Somebody says, Mala, I've been at work all day. I need a break. Careful, when you want to say haram, you need to trace your argument back to something solid, that there's a sin. Tomorrow, this is a quick quoting on the procedure. We'll come back to this more slowly and we'll use more examples. What I want you to have is just have in your head that it's not scatter. Ijtihad has some steps. We will come back to these steps. But before you say haram, you want to be sure that the evidence from the Quran or the Sunnah has made it clear there's ithm, there's zunubi, there's sin. Allah curses it. Allah says people of hell do this. Allah says don't do. Clear. Hurrimat alaykum kaza kaza kaza. So there's the kind of evidence that scholars want to hear, that there's a sin, there's punishment in the hereafter, there's Allah's condemnation of it. Then they are comfortable saying haram. If they don't have it, but it just says a good Muslim will not, it just says, then they say makruh, not haram. So the quality of evidence is what is required to overturn the default. Are we together? So for the purpose of diagram, let me take, grass cutter. You know the animal they call grass cutter?
Yes.
Okay, so it's one like a big rat. First got to enjoy it in my NYSC days in Ijebu area. The moment you cross River Niger and you are moving in that area and you see bush meat, nearly 50% of it is grass cutter. Is it halal or is it haram? Okay? So you need to be very specific about your question. Is it halal or haram? But be more specific. We want to know whether it's makruh, mubah, mustahab, or fard or wajib. We start with the default. Everything is halal except what is haram. That's the istishab. That's the legal default. We want to find out whether we have enough evidence to turn over the default. The default is it is halal. So we check in the evidence of usul, Quran, Sunnah, Ijma, Qiyas. After checking everything, all these ones, we are not able to find evidence that it is haram. We will look into the qawaid. Al-umur bi maqasidiha. What's the purpose? Al-yaqin la yazulu bi shak. Certainty is not overruled by doubt. And it's tied to the legal defaults, we'll see. Ad-darar yuzal. Harm must be eliminated. Is it causing harm? Al-mashakka tajlibu taysir. Hardship. Sorry, this eliminate harm. Hardship calls for concession. Is there any victim here? No. Al-ada muhakkama. What do you mean?
That is considering the life of that, we should not making, it's not usually common.
It's very common in that part of the country, or you've been in town for too long. Okay? But if you want to go environmental, start it at the question time. Is this type of thing, in this type of environmental situation where it is endangered or near extinction, that's why you need a very specific question that considers the context. Then it will tell us what we are looking for and what is the legal default. So we carry on from where we stopped. You check usul, no evidence. You check awaid, no evidence to make it haram. You check maqasid, no evidence to make it haram. Then you go with what is the wisest and best alternative, the istihsan. If the evidence is that it is haram, then you say it is haram or makruh, or what the evidence dictates. If you don't have evidence after all these gymnastics, you go back to legal default. It is halal and you haven't gotten evidence for haram. Are we together? So, alaikum salam. The question of the grass cutter, yes.
Is it haram? I mean, the person is, from my own point of view, it is halal. But my concern is the method.
That's not a question. So that should be the question you now ask. No, it's fine. But then you should ask, the way grass cutters are killed, is that halal? That's a specific question. So what you are saying is grass cutter is halal to eat. That's the original question. Sharks. Is it halal to eat sharks? They are fish. And just because fish eat fish, do you want to eat fish? It's carnivorous, but it belongs to water animals, and all are halal. Okay? All the aquatics. Fish species, indeed it is fish. It is halal by default. Are we together? But there's a particular type of, is fish soup okay? Fish soup. Yes. What about shark fin soup? Aha. If you don't know enough about shark fin soup. Sorry? Please listen to the brother. Dollar one by one. There's issues
around how they farm it or get to the shark fin, and then there's the issue of endangered. So it now falls onto it's halal, but it's causing harm to the environment.
Okay. The big problem with shark fin soup. Ask anybody. Just go online. Ethical problems with shark fin soup. You know what these shark fin? The fin of the shark is what they cut, they dry, and they make soup with it. And it's supposed to be a delicacy. Very expensive soup. So expensive that once you have gotten the fins of the shark, The shark itself, the meat, nobody is interested in that one. So you know what they do? They catch shark, pull it on the boat. The shark is alive. They will get a knife, cut the fin off, cut the fin off, cut the fin off, throw the shark back into the water. Okay? So, is it halal to take shark fin soup? You have to be specific. If you know the ethical problem there, under normal circumstances, whether it's shark fin, shark tail, shark pomo, shark, halal. Are we together? But it is as we are going down the process of shark fin soup that we are looking now at the ethics. And we have a hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, any part you cut off a living animal, that part is najas. Are we together? Najas, impure. Okay? In other words, under normal circumstances, shark fin soup, no problem. You caught a shark, whatever, you didn't mistreat it, etc. It is tied to, and what are the things the Arabs used to do? Jahiliyyah ko. Anyway, camel is live and healthy, but I'm hungry and I feel like having some fresh meat. They will get a knife and cut a piece of the hump off. Live camel. And then they go and roast it and eat, and life goes on. Okay? And the Prophet ﷺ, sorry? Exactly. You know? And the Prophet ﷺ condemned that. So, key point I will take from all that has been raised, the grass cutter, separate eating grass cutter from how grass cutter is killed. Separate shark fin, halal by default. But because of how it is being slaughtered, that's a separate issue. Are we together? The key thing, sorry?
Turkey, the other time they imported turkey.
Turkey?
Yes.
Imported turkey. Frozen turkey. Okay? Turkey, halal or haram? Good. But the concern is about what? Yeah, they call it dhabiha. Who slaughtered? How was it slaughtered? And some get concerned, okay, was it from Ahl al-Kitab, people of the book? Some would insist, like the Shafi and the Hanafis, how did they slaughter it? Okay? Some don't take that, like in the Maliki and the Hanbali. But all I want you to remember is the final answer halal or haram. It's a process of ijtihad, and you will get some scholarly diversity on some topics. It doesn't matter. But understand, there's a method to it. Are we together? Yeah. It's not scatter. There's a step-by-step method that is important to remember. Alaikum salam.
I'm just struggling to come to terms with a lot of things you've said, particularly this one. To relate it to my environment, it seemed to me that a lot of this knowledge, many people would not have it ordinarily. Therefore, what our imams and malams and try to do is to put guardrails so that, yes, they know that going to watch football in itself is not haram, but they fear what else would come there. Therefore, that's my own kind of take from this one. Ludo and all those sort of things. Yes, everything is guided by intentions. Actions are judged by intentions. But allowing such a knowledge while the knowledge itself is limited knowledge, as we've earlier on said, having small knowledge is a bit dangerous. It could dovetail into so many things. Hence, a lot of things that I see as mubah and a lot of things you explain, 90%, as you rightly said, is not haram. But they rather put it at 70% and leave the other part of it. Is it unnecessarily being difficult on the Muslim Ummah, or is it reasonable, these guardrails they put?
Very good question. The key thing is something Sister Salatu mentioned, and we will keep mentioning it again and again. Draw a very clear line between Allah said and the Prophet said and my personal preference. What is the biggest damage to a lot of young people today? Islam says, where is my opinion? According to Sharia. Where is according to my urf? According to, we put our own personal ijtihad, but we give it names like according to Sharia, according to Islam. We didn't say according to Quran, not according to Sunnah. We didn't say according to our urf. Take for example something that is common now, dreadlocks. Okay, this macaroni type of hairstyle. Halal or haram? Which ayah? Always remember, start with the specific questions. Dreadlocks, halal or haram? Why? You want to know which one, go? But you start with the default. What is the default? Not the conclusion. If you start with the conclusion, this is your own bias. Because it means you are concluding without looking at evidence. Are we together? So start with the default and then look at the evidence. What is Sharia's default on hairstyle? Mubah. Are we together? Yes. You want it long? Prophet kept his hair long. Some Sahaba had their hair as long as their shoulders. It wasn't women's style. Men had it, women had it. But that's in their own culture. We'll come back to culture. Because culture matters. But dreadlocks belongs to Mubah. If you want to say it's haram, let's look at which ayah. Which ayah makes it sinful? Which hadith makes it sinful? And in the audience, you have somebody who came from the Caribbean. He's from Jamaica. It is part of their urf. Are we together? It is part of their ada. Ministers have dreadlocks. Men have dreadlocks. Women have dreadlocks. Are we together? We're not talking about women exposing your dreadlocks. We're just asking, where dreadlocks in them? Is it haram according to the Quran and Sunnah? Because if you say no, then the default of mubah remains. Then we look at ijma. We look at qiyas. We look at amal, we look at. If at the end of the day you can't, you ask yourself, from the qawaid point of view, because this is the Quran and Sunnah from the perspective of the spirit of Sharia. Do we have anything here? We find that the evidence here seems to respect custom. What is our custom? We would prefer to be biased in favor of custom, but it is custom. Are we together? And the same argument for custom will apply to your neck and tie. It will apply to custom. And somebody will say, I am wearing the custom of whatever. One by one, please. One by one. So, you will now look at the maqasid. What does it do? If it is something that is disrespectful, if it is something that is, this is what an iska do, okay, then you would discourage. But please remember, you are discouraging because of your cultural context. In his cultural context is not a problem. So it's to know where is the evidence coming from. And then you decide what is the wisest conclusion from the evidence. The key point is not do you agree with this or do you not agree, but follow a system and know the evidence you have used. Not I am still on where I was, I don't care about. No, you have to care about if it's submission to the will of Allah. And if Allah is quiet on something, okay, what about the spirit of the law? Yeah. What does Sharia try to promote? The key thing is be very careful. One of the most dangerous things in speaking in the name of Islam is you package your own preference in language that sounds as if that's what Allah and the Prophet wanted. Somebody was giving one exception.
I said, can you do the same euthanasia?
With euthanasia, okay? Euthanasia, mercy killing, okay? So, inshallah, tomorrow, one of those things we will do is we will go through the different istishabs, legal defaults. And we will go through an acronym called FLIPPED. FLLIPPED. I will summarize the major defaults. F, freedom as a default, freedom from responsibility. That I am free to do what I want until you show I have an obligation. So freedom is a legal default. Okay? Life remains sacred. You can't take life unless you have evidence. Okay, so they will say al-asl fil dima al-haram. The asl of taking the life of something is haram. You must prove you have to take the life. So it will apply there that it's haram by default unless you can prove it has to. So L, so life is sacred. In language, things are taken as literal by default unless you can prove this is metaphorical. But the default is what is taken as, the literal is what is taken as the default. I, innocence. That people are innocent until proven guilty. P, pure. Substances, living things are considered pure, tahir, not najas, by default. So if somebody says, is this tahir or is it najas? Is this substance pure or impure? The default Sharia starts with it is pure. You go and prove it is impure. The second P, permissible. That actions are permissible unless there's evidence that it is prohibited. So the default would be permissibility. PPE, that equality when it comes to justice. So when we say treat people justly, we mean equally. It is you that will say, but in this case, this my wife from here and that my wife from there, or this my son and my daughter and my older son and his preference. But the default of Sharia is justice is equivalent to equality. You have to prove that equity is what matters in this. Then D, in devotional acts of worship, ibadah, al-asl is tawakkuf. Some put tawqif, means put pause. Go and bring evidence for doing it. It doesn't mean it is haram, but it means we need evidence. Then the second D, that the asl is duty where you have an obligation. So for example, if we don't have any evidence that you are married, then you are free from responsibility. But when you say you have to do the domestic chores, that's an obligation on you. The moment you're going to say you have an obligation, bring evidence. Why? Because the default is not obligation. The default is freedom from liability. Bara'atu dhimma. Al-asl, bara'atu dhimma. So it is you who is saying she has an obligation to, you bring your evidence. And you go around. Usul, kawaid, maqasid. If you can't find any, she stays with the default. But once she gets married, she has some responsibilities to her husband, or he has a responsibility to his wife. He is duty bound by his contract unless he can prove he is no more married. Are we together? Once we have a business contract, if the contract hasn't ended, you can't be saying I'm on holiday. But no, once you are bound by a contract, al-Muslimun inda shurutihim. So once you have a contract, the default is you have a duty to that. So the default when there's a contract is duty to fulfillment. It is when you have fulfilled it, then you are free. So every domain in life in Sharia has a default starting point. If you miss the default, you will mess up this process. Because you are like the person who came and said he stole my phone. Let him prove he didn't. Why? You are twisting that he is guilty until proven innocent. You are messing up the legal system. So the first point you start on any issue, know the legal default. Otherwise, you make haram what is halal by default. Or you make halal what is haram. So remember the defaults. Yes, please.
I'm just reminding about the other, it is flipped plus H.
Oh, thank you. Dean people. So flipped, cool. We will come back to it. It's all in your material. Then it ends with plus H. H is haram by default. Harm is haram by default. The moment something causes harm and there's a victim, we don't need evidence from the Quran or Sunnah the moment it is harmful. We have enough evidence of Nahyan al Munkar, we have enough evidence of don't be unjust, we have enough evidence to create a legal default that harm is haram by default. So when we say we're going to cut your stomach, it is harmful. It's haram by default. You must justify it that, oh, it's to remove a particular problem. You have to justify the harm and say that, well, we are preventing a greater harm. But you can't just cause harm, hakakaway. No, you must prove the need to justify it.
The flip plus H is a subset of the Y of the here.
Yeah. So that qaida that says al-asl, al-yaqin la yazulu bi-shak. Okay, the second maxim, that certainty is not overruled by doubt. You will find there are different types of principles that say this is what we are more certain about. That things are permissible unless kaza. That people are free unless there's evidence of obligation. That people are innocent until, yeah. So why? Because we are more certain of the general rule than the exception to the rule. So that's why it is related to the qaida. But in usul, all these legal defaults fall under istishab. Yeah. In qawaid, they fall under qaida too. They are the level of, we are more certain about them. And they are there to protect various maqasid. Yeah. Protect our freedom and choice as human beings. Protect justice. That's why we say he is innocent until proven guilty. We are all born with the fitrah. We need evidence that you went contrary to the fitrah. Yeah. But Allah says you are born innocent. So we need evidence of the opposite. So each of the istishab comes with its own evidence from the Quran and Sunnah. And that is why it is the starting point. But please, starting point is not conclusion. I repeat, because somebody says everything is halal except what is haram doesn't mean that's the answer. No, that's just the starting point for the procedure. We now have to look at the evidence to see whether we have enough to overturn it. We will stop here, inshallah. The assignment we wanted to give, what are the major steps in juristic reasoning using the metaphor? We will send you an assignment tied to that. Please go through it. Conclusions?
The assignment.
Okay. So as you are going out, or let's just distribute, go.
Yes, sir.
So every table. Wait, in an assignment. No one go.
Tomorrow about this one?
We can give them. This is the answer to the other one.
This one?
Yes. Yeah.
This one, right?
We'll give them tonight. Yeah.
To go and study.
Yeah. So we will distribute these. Please, everybody take a copy. Okay? Here you have about 88 maxims. You don't need to memorize all of them. Just study them. We'll distribute this one also.
Yes.
Against tomorrow, right?
And we give this one today. It will shorten time for Qawaid. Here is a list of major Islamic legal maxims for Muslim professionals. Okay? So what we did was, looking at the various fatwas that scholars have given that relate to Muslim professionals in all fields, finance, technology, education, healthcare, bioethics, etc. What are the most common maxims that they keep bringing up that guide, like their traffic rules in their fatwas? So we compiled them here. We have arranged them according to the major maxims. You know, we said those 5 maxims have children, co?
Yes.
So we put the 5 parents here, and under each parent, the children. So if you look at number 1, actions are judged by their purposes. Okay? Al-umur bi-maqasidiha. The core professional message is that purpose, motives, outcome, impact, strategic intent matter as much as formal compliance. And you can look at all the other maxims under that one. This is the one you start going through. Are we together? It makes life easier for us tomorrow. If you can go through these as many times as possible, it'll change the way you think about anything. To make sure you get it properly, please go through this, if possible, with somebody. If possible, with somebody. If not, no worries. Go through it yourself, but always ask yourself, how is it linked to the first maxim? So the first maxim, so these are the maxims. Then, on the second one, homework assignment, we have the first 5 maxims, A, B, C, D, E. What we want you to do, there's number 1, whatever is required for the realization of a need or necessity is itself treated as a need or necessity. Is that one more related to A or B or C or D or E? If you have gone through this, you would have gotten your answers. This is already arranged according to the children. So go through this because it helps you understand the major maxim. Then you go to this one, and then beside number 1, you write A, if that's the correct answer. Number 2, text without context is pretext. This is related to what? Matters are judged by their purposes, or certainty is not overruled by doubt, or harm must be eliminated, or whatever. Are we together? So you may say that goes more to do with what creates greater certainty. So you will say that one is B. Then you read number 3. Would you put A, B, C, D, or E? Which one? When coming tomorrow, please come with whatever your letter is for each of those. You may write your name on top, but we will have group discussions to compare notes. We will focus on those things where, as a group, I put it under C, you put it under A. Why did you put it under C? For the following reason. Why did you put it under A? For the following reason. Because the truth is, some maxims can belong to both categories, depending on the context in which you understand it. Is it understood? Is it too much to ask? No, inshallah. Dalla, memorize these. Easy to remember. The key thing is understand the logic behind it. Sorry?
The copies now, they are not enough.
Not enough. We did 60.
Meant for groups, not individual.
But 60 after?
No.
To.
Share the soft copy in the group.
We will share the soft copy on the platform. So if you have but everybody has a copy of the assignment,
Yes.
Fine. Yes. This is the most important. How you reclassify these according to the major maxims. Any questions? Thank you okay, this is extra.
Yes.
Okay, we'll keep it for ourselves. Thank you very much for your patience and your attention. Inshallah, tomorrow we will continue where we stopped. If you are able to do this, it will save us a lot of time. Inshallah. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Oh, our poem. My apologies, please. Sorry?